Before we start, this whole video is just my opinion, so if you don't like the game or disagree with any of my opinions, we all have our own preferences when it comes to games, so please be respectful. Oh yeah, and subscribe please. Hi, I'm Ellipsis, and today I'm going to talk about a game that in my opinion is one of the most underrated roguelikes that I've ever played, Skull the Hero Slayer. In this video, I will go over the 4 main points that prove that this game is underrated, so without further ado, let's get into it. Released in early 2021, Skull the Hero Slayer was brought to us by Southpaw Games and NeoWiz, the creators of the amazing Liza P, where it quickly gathered a large audience and sold over 2 million copies and won multiple awards. But the only problem was that it sadly didn't reach the same heights as other roguelikes such as Enter the Gungeon and Risk of Rain 2, even though the game is extremely high quality and polished like the rest. It's in no way unknown, but I feel like this game deserved more praise for how good it is. Let's start on point 1, the gimmick. Now every game needs a gimmick. It's what single-handedly defines / makes or breaks a game, and Skull does this very well. Throughout the game, you play as a small skeleton who isn't that powerful, but as you go along your journey, you can find new skulls from dead warriors which can be used to gain their abilities. For example, you can become a werewolf who can rip and tear enemies apart, or become a gladiator with a gigantic sword which can slam, slice and destroy everything in your path. Or even a... wait a minute. Each skull has different levels and a certain type which defines their abilities and styles. Power skulls are slow but pack a punch, speed skulls are fast but lack damage, and balance skulls give you the best of both worlds. If you end up coming across a skull that you don't want, then you can destroy it for bones, which can be used to upgrade your skulls in the long run, and you might even end up getting a skull to max level, which unlocks its full power. The wide range of options that you get from this one feature gives it a perfect replayability factor and keeps it fun and fresh in every run. On top of this, you can collect items which range in rarity and strength to boost certain attributes like physical or magic damage, as well as things like speed and gold gain, and you can also get special abilities known as quintessences. All these aspects create one of the best build systems I've ever seen in a roguelike, making it stand out from all the rest. Moving on to point 2, design and fluidity. This game is beautiful, and there's no doubt about it. Every background, enemy and animation is refined and unique, complementing its designated stage and level. When you're fighting, it's obvious when enemies are using certain attacks, which can help the player learn how to deal with them instead of being confused by what's happening on their screen. Also, because the art is so well done, every new stage and skull feels fresh and different, meaning you might end up keeping a skull just for its looks or adapting your playstyle to fit the environment. As you level up your skulls, their designs get more intimidating and larger in size, making you feel that you made the right decision and that you've progressed and gained power. Without the hard work that was put into the visual style of this game, it would feel sloppy, repetitive, dull and lacking excitement. A game needs to look good for everything else to work, and Skull does this perfectly. Next, point 3, boss fights. The boss fights in this game are great. They feel hard at first, but once you get enough practice in, you can do them hitless and progress without trouble. Every environment has a set of mini-bosses that vary in size depending on where you are in your run. You could be fighting witches, swordsmen, ninjas and more until you get to the final boss. The forest has the possessed tree guy, the castle has the battle sisters who are heavily inspired by the mantis lords from HK, the dungeon has the mad scientist, and so on until you beat the game. But the main thing that sets Skull's bosses apart from other roguelikes is execution. Similar to ECG, the bosses in Skull are mostly random, meaning you'll be good at some bosses and less experienced against others, which encourages practice. The bosses will get easier and easier as you learn their attack patterns until you can beat them consistently. But when you go for your next run, you won't feel annoyed or disappointed about the fact that you have to redo bosses you've already done because of how fun each and every one of them are. There is not one boss in the game that I wouldn't happily fight for fun when I'm bored, because even though they are simple, they never feel overdone or made to be more than what they are, because they rarely shove lots of dumb attacks and stun locking into a cramped space where the player can do nothing but panic and eventually die. Finally, point 4, story. When I first started discovering the story of this game, I was instantly hooked. As I progressed, very small details suddenly seemed to matter. Secret rooms, hidden chests, and even small pieces of dialogue that gave hints to certain pieces of lore really caught my interest. Even after beating the game multiple times, I'm still constantly looking for new information and stories throughout the game. The lore is so simple, but it gets more complex as you go, keeping you hooked and intrigued until you've spent hours and hours learning every little detail from the base game, and then you realise there's also a DLC. Now before we finish, it wouldn't be fair if I didn't talk about a few of the problems that I have with this game. No game is completely perfect, so I want to make sure that I explain some of the things that I feel are wrong about this game. For starters, since there are so many different skulls in the game, none of them are perfect. Sometimes you'll have a run where you'll get your favourite skull, but most of the time you aren't so lucky. Even though practice is the main problem with not liking some schools, you might just not work well with their abilities and stats, which can feel disheartening at times and make the player want to quit. Finally, this game is hard. Not like Dead Cells hard, but hard. If you really want to get good at it, then you'll have to spend a lot of time playing, which is the same for any other roguelike, which may not be enjoyable for people, so it's all just down to personal preference. That's it. That's the 4 main points why Skull Hero Slayer is an underrated game. There's so many other things that I could have talked about in this video, but I just wanted to keep it short for you. Overall, I think I'd give this game a solid 8.7 out of 10 for its great combat and amazing visual style. So if you enjoy, then please like and subscribe to support the channel, and leave a comment if you know any other roguelikes or games in general that you think I should try. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.